Hello everybody, we have been asked to do a tour of the garage, show you everything that we have here in the garage. So I figured I'd do that today because the whole point of our channel is to showcase vintage bowling equipment, talk about it, and make it live on. Stuff you can't go ahead and find anywhere operating or being used anymore. Stuff like star shields that are getting thrown out. We've got people that are putting them back in and making them light up again. LED lighting, it's pretty cool. Streamlane mask units. We got this stripped off the blue paint on it. The original paint was still underneath it. That's all original and it functions. We've hooked it up. Pin finders work. Thank you, Rod J. It functions. Gold crown mask unit. Pin finders work. Strike indicator works. Backlight works. Everything that you used to see that you can't find anymore, we got it here in the garage functioning. Even an old 1955 Brunswick Model A pin setter. Instead of new stuff, we got the original Brunswick pin setter. So anyways, enough talking. Enjoy the tour. Look at all the stuff we got in here. If you see anything, know of anything, let us know. We probably don't have room for it. I'd love to have it, but let us know about it if you see anything. Enjoy the tour. This is the original O from USA Bowl. How about a very weathered Dr. Pepper sign? It's pretty big. Here's a couple of old original AMF League assignment boards. If you notice the old AMF logo on them, still covered in the original West Texas dust. Here's another one, still has 3 of the original team names still put in the slots. A couple of AMF foul lights from above ground lane system. Here's a Miller Lite bottle that was hanging in twin lanes from Cleveland, Ohio. An array of duck pins and novelty pins. Here's an original AMF logo that would have gone on the sweeps of the 8230s back in the 60s. Let's not forget Sluggo and the Golden Toaster, plus this Astro 2 shield that would have gone on a ball lift hood. We even have a working traffic light. It's not exactly perfect, but it goes through the cycle of walk, don't walk, and all 3 light signals. We found it on Craigslist about 7 years ago. It had been hanging in a restaurant. There's a light up Stroh's advertisement sign that came from Twin Lanes. Let's not forget the Earl Anthony autograph pin and the Mark Roth pin sitting right next to it up on the wall of pins. Even the Golden Jerry trophy. I think in total I have about 150 pins on display. Nothing near what Mike has in his collection. Got quite a bit of stuff here. I've had to take a few of the more common pins down to make room for the older ones. The shelf wasn't this big to begin with, but it keeps growing more and more, and now I'm maxed out. No more room in the end. Just to the left is a Dunkin' Donuts sign that we got in an auction. There's some various AMF placards that went on different equipment from back in the 60s. Even a box of score table crayons for doing the overhead scores. There's still some in there. I have a few autograph cards. I assume they're hand signed. One of them is even by Don Carter, and a newer AMF logo as well. Non-bowling related are a bunch of old soda cans, bottles, and cups and stuff that I've gotten through the years. Then there's a Brunswick Astroline ball lift logo. Now this is a neat collection of pins here in various states from beginning to end. I got them in a bowling alley up in Ohio that Beth got for me and mailed to me. They all have a label on them kind of describing at what process of the production they're in. Not sure what kind of pin they were once they were made, but it's kind of neat to see them going from the beginning to the end up to the final product. A couple of the 6 or 7 inch novelty pins here. Even one from the bowling museum when it opened up. There's an AMF 10th frame switch, and then a little miniature bowling ball with the box. And then there's the ball sizer. It's how you would have measured your hand back in the 60s. The top and bottom half rotated. These are some really old wood bowling balls, various states. I don't know the years on them, but they're probably about 100 years old, the way bowling balls used to be made. This one's a little bit smaller. Speaking of smaller, this one's really small compared to an average size bowling ball. Got a bunch of different various bowling balls, some new, some old. A Sea Strike ball, the one that I use when we do our live streams, the one that Mike uses. And I got this frame of patches that I got from Florida with another bowling pin. It goes way back. Here's another AMF foul light unit. Looks like they painted around it yellow. Here's another one that I have that's similar to that, the right and left of the pair. Here's an old snack machine that I got. Looks like you used to have three things in the window. Put in your money, pull the lever, and your snack fell out the bottom. Here's an old bowling award bowling clock. Got that off eBay several years ago. How about a motel room payphone? You would actually put money in it to use it. Got a whole bunch of different glass bottles from sodas back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Some of them still have the original soda still in them. Then there's a whole case of Dr. Pepper, what they call 1024 bottles. When I bought Trixie, the guy had an adjoining antique store. I saw this camera in there and told him because of the color, I wanted him to give me the camera if I bought Trixie. He sold a car, I got a camera. We got this sign new in box from Twin Lanes up in Cleveland, Ohio. It had never been out of the box before. I found this in the attic at East Ridge Lanes in Amarillo. Still in open, contents are still in it. They're hard as a rock though. This is a Dr. Pepper cooler from the 50s. Erin's mom had it and gave it to us one day when we were visiting her house. A couple of vintage car care products in the original bottles. I got this old Dr. Pepper clock from my coworker Timmy. Thank you, Timmy. This bottle cap clock came from my friend James. How about an original 1956 calendar from Albion Bowl? If you look at it real close, it still has all the calendar stuff day to day that they had written in. It's kind of interesting to go through each month and look at them and see what was going on. How about the Dr. Pepper machine from the 60s? I restored it myself. Even has a bottle rack on the side that you would hang your empty bottles on. What you do is you put in a dime, look in through the window, see what you like, open the door, grab the bottle, pull it out, and then the gate would lock behind it. It was only 10 cents back then. Open your bottle right there next to the lock. Enjoy your soda. Here's a 1950s Dr. Pepper clock with the old Dr. Pepper logo. Then this is the telescore that Erin uses on our live streams. This is all the video equipment, the computer, and this is what we use when we're doing spare shots. I'm on the pin setter and Erin punches in what you want to see. And it even still works. Here's the light switch for it. You can put on the projector or just the overhead light. But Erin uses it for our live streams. There's some markings for which camera on the mixer goes to what. This is an old jukebox you would have found in an old diner back in the 50s or 60s. It's hooked up to a main jukebox, but you put in a quarter now. I've modernized it. You put in a quarter, lights up, gives you your plays, you punch in the buttons, and it plays your selection. Still works. There's a company that sells a CD and iPod adapter for it, so it will work with your digital music. What garage would be complete without a scoreboard? We don't have a controller for it, but a church was giving it away, so we got it. This is an old family heirloom sled that is way older than me, and I even used this when I was a kid when we go sledding whenever we had the winters and school was closed for the day. An original Mexican Fanta sign. This is a pachinko machine. It's kind of fun to play with. And what man cave or garage would not be complete in Texas without a Shiner sign? Here's our original pin deck that I took out when we got a synthetic from Plano Super Bowl. And there's a hand dryer. This would have been on a pedestal. And then the ball rack below it is an AMF ball rack. It's got a bunch of cool old swirly balls that I just had to have. They're all from the 50s, 60s. It's pretty neat. I even like the yellow speckled ball. Got a Brunswick ball polisher. And if you look real close inside through the window there, you'll see a Black Beauty just waiting to get out. This one works with wire brushes, so I wouldn't put anything modern inside of this or you'd ruin it. Here's the sign from Circle Bowl that used to be in Dallas. I got this out of the dumpster when they closed back in the mid-80s. Probably our most prized possession is lanes 21 and 22, the TV pair from the Cleveland Open Buckeye lanes. Here's a double gold crown masking unit crown that's mounted in front of the AMF Streamlane masking unit. All original paint. And the icy that I got from an auction one time. Here's our tumblers from Hamilton Bowl, duck pen, a pen lamp, coffee mug, the original gold crown masking unit that we used to have mounted on here. This is the arena masking unit, our most recent edition. Here's some various AMF signage. The AMF white sign is a reproduction. Then the men's room sign I got from Cleveland, Ohio out of Twin Lanes. They got it in an auction, just sitting in some junk boxes. I got this sign from East Ridge Lanes, the old Luster King ball polisher. Had a 25-cent handwritten sign on it when I got it. I unfolded the sign, and this is what was on the back side. The PBA Tour stopped there from 1980. Here's Lane 17's masking unit from Capri Lanes. If you look at it just right in the light, under the 28 layers of paint on it, you can still see Capri right above the 17 if you look close enough. I've got a pair of projection screens for the Brunswick telescores. I've got two of them back to back with a black piece on there for reflection. Aaron's desk, if you turn it around and flip on the switch, it will project up on here. Timmy, my coworker, gave me the sign a couple of years ago. And then the machine cover from Crystal Lake Bowl in Crystal Lake, Illinois, lane 20, had an original Brunswick rake sticker mounted on the back of it. Rod J had known about it, told me about it, and I ended up there one day, saw it, and brought it home. This is the arena mask that I got that came out of Miami Bowl, and a Shiner pool table light. Thank you, Susan. Here's an old Dr. Pepper menu board from the 70s. And an AMF Streamlane 21 masking unit. I don't have the triangle on it right now, but I do have it mounted on the wall, but this is a reproduction of the original insert. Behind that, 3 Gold Crown masking units hanging up, waiting to be fixed up and reused. Here's one of the old looped ball decelerators. Not sure the proper term for it, but that's what I call it. I tried to get it to work on our ball return, but it just doesn't fit right. Hopefully I can get it working one day. And we have 2 backup pinwheels. One's the original one that came in the pin setter, and the other one is an old American one-piece clangy pinwheel that came out of Crystal Lake, Illinois. Here's a placard that would have been on one of the newer AMF sweeps. A couple old STP and Texaco cans. Here's a pair of grids that you'd hang over the lanes and put stuff on. I put 858 on it to commemorate my high series ever. I even have a box of letters that I hope to get to use again one day. Yes, we have rake boards, various ones, all different ages. Take a look at them all. And then we also have 3 AMF sweeps, an 8270 and an 8230 sweep. Here's an original Brunswick deck shield. When they first came out, that's all they said on them was just Brunswick. Here's a hard case Brunswick bowling ball case, has a big crown stamped in it. This is Mike's grandfather's bowling bag. Got a few cobwebs and things on it. Here's another one that I got with the bowling ball that I bought on eBay. And then this 1980s Brunswick bag, new, unused, still has the tag on it. We got more deck shields. A2 jetback. If you notice right behind this one, the A2 one came from Huma. There's the B10 deck shields. Got kind of one of everything up there. Then of course I've got 3 Buckeye Lanes masking unit star shields, and then our single lane star shield that I made with parts from Bowl South. Here's one of the faux masking unit star shield panels that Tony had up at Eastridge Lanes before he got the ones from Buckeye. And this is probably one of my best looking masking units, the red Streamlane. If you've ever seen this silver Liberty Head looking thing to the right of the pin setter, the outer lights would come on when you got a strike. It was a strike indicator. It came from the bowling sales company. It's called a Strike-A-Light. Came out of Eastridge Lanes in Amarillo on their 8230s. I've got a bunch of wood bowling pin crates that I found up at Twin Lanes in Cleveland, Ohio and Pennsylvania. I've also got this one right here. And what's cool about this one, if you notice the markings on it, I have the exact sale ad in a 1950 catalog. Look how cheap they were back then. This is the catalog that they came in. It's got a bunch of old bowling equipment, stuff you could buy back in the 50s. They even had their own line of semi-automatic pin setters. I'll bet you they didn't sell many of those, because about the time this came out is when the Brunswick Model A pin setter is about to be brought out. Also, AMF's first pin spotter came out about the same time too. So that kind of killed the semi-automatic pin setters. Look at the bowling shoes. Prices in here too, which is really cool. Modular seating. Cool ball returns. I've never even seen one of these. Score tables. Here's their semi-automatic pin setter. I'm guessing they just never caught on. Like I say, bad timing. Wouldn't you love to have those pins on that lane right there? We got a bunch of empty bowling pin boxes from the 60s, a bunch of old AMF tournament and Kimwell boxes, Brunswick boxes, Vulcans, all kinds of stuff. Deb's coats. I wish the pins were still in them though. There's even a Green Bay bowling pin box. Still has the label on it from the bowling alley it was mailed to. Under the pile here is an AMF ball polisher, and it does work. It is wire brushes too. Then we have the shelf that has all the pins that we use week to week in the pin setter. I think we have about 15 different sets of pins in here. Here's a couple of deck and rake stickers that I've gotten, A2 and then the AMF that I just got recently. And another telescore. We have 2 of those, and there should be a 3rd one coming. Some neon beer signs that we got from Twin Lanes in Cleveland, Ohio. An old clock I got from a neighbor who used to have an auto parts store. And then my pin trophy shelf here with all my 300 and 800 bowling pins on them to commemorate them. Then my shelf with all the catalogs. Probably one of everything up here, including one that was all the Brunswick equipment. If you're buying a bowling alley, they gave you this catalog and you equip it. I think I have 3 of them. Here's an old AMF 8230 maintenance manual. It's pretty cool to read through that. And Trixie as a telephone. I even have all the Astroline scoring manuals, a bunch of other different manuals too. It's kind of neat to look through this stuff. Another beer sign that we got from Twin Lanes in Cleveland. And this is the triangle that's supposed to be on the Streamlane 21. We got a pile of letters in an auction one time, and I used Words with Friends cheat to figure out what to spell it with. I put in all the letters, and the first word that came up was aircraft. So that's why it says aircraft on the wall. There's a P left over. This is the display, an old Astroline pin finder unit that's hooked up to the switcher up on Aaron's desk, plus some custom pins painted by Mango Fox for us, and also a Braniff International jet bridge sign that used to be on the jet bridge. All right, and now for the star of the show, the pin setter. This is Brunswick pin setter, serial number 3690. Came out of a church in Fort Worth. As many of y'all know from our stories, it has front-facing electrical box. It was an A2 when I got it, but I've converted it back to a Model A pin setter along with the original deck holding hook. As you see right there, it's got the Brunswick Otis green paint on it everywhere. Even found an original Brunswick Model A rake that has never been welded, that is still Otis green. The original ones, if you notice, were black on the bottom half and green on the top half. The original ones had a pair of fins down here at the bottom that mechanics hated because they'd always hurt themselves by tripping over them. Instead of a shotgun, we just have the bar here, and this is the outer range linkage. But this is an original 1955 or 56 Brunswick Model A converted A2. You can tell they got the feet added onto the bottom where they cut the kickbacks down. When they go from a A to an A2 conversion, the kickbacks were cut. So they cut off the original mount brackets and put these new mount brackets on the bottom part and a different plate. So this would have been the original kickback when it was a Model A, but cut and then converted for the A2 conversion. But now it's an A once more. I'll say this, I'm probably and pretty confidently saying I'm the only person in the world to ever convert an A2 back to a Model A. Hope you enjoyed the tour of everything, seeing all the stuff we have in here. If you're ever in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, come see us. We'd like to see you in person. Thanks for watching as always. We'll be live on our league nights on Monday nights, about 7:30 p.m. And then we always try to be live here in the garage every Sunday evening, about 6 p.m. Central Time. Hope you'll join us, spread the word, enjoy the vintage bowling, save it, don't scrap it, no string pin setters, save the original Brunswick pin setters, 8270s, 8230s, free fall is the way to go, no strings. Thanks again, bye everybody.